The ANC in the Free State was set to hold its provincial elective conference this month after initial delays in July and resolving to move it to September. But the sitting never happened, with further delays emerging. This weekend was the final scheduled date for that conference to happen after 3 postponements. The party's Interim Provincial Committee will sit tomorrow to discuss a way forward. Let's get an update on the situation with Free State ANC IPC member Oupa Khoabane. Mr. Khoabane, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. So, why has it been so difficult for you in the Free State to pull yourselves together as the ANC and actually hold this conference?
Good morning to you and viewers. The ANC Free State is not having difficulties. The difficulties comes with the problems of verification. Remember, at first, when we started with our BBGMs, there were a whole lot of issues on the issue of scanners and the QR codes. But now, since our branches had started in full swing to have their branch meetings, they have a problem of being disqualified during the verifications because of probably having experienced this or that problem.
What do you mean by this or that problem? What are those problems?
For instance, you may find that as they scan people into the meeting, as they scan and the scanner does not pick up, the person would repeat, and immediately the scanner will then register one ID having been scanned many times, and that in itself disqualifies that BGM, that BBGM or that meeting. It's one of those problems that are being discovered when some may be that when the QR code is giving problems, the people will then punch manually. And now the number of IDs that they would punch manually, there will be more than is required. And that in itself disqualifies that branch. It means the branch has to start afresh to organize its meetings. If you can look at the records, we have had more than 200 branch meetings. And up to now, as of last week, what had been qualified was about 73 branches. But those meetings are continuing. They've been continuing during the week, yesterday, and even today. We'll still be having meetings going on. So most of them will be a repeat of those that have been disqualified.
So you're blaming technicalities to do with scanners and the rest of it, but a report by the City Press this week said infighting at some of these branches was among the issues that you have not been able to properly prepare your branches to hold the provincial conference. Is that also true?
No, it's not. It's not true. Our subcommittee on organizing has regular workshops on how to use the system, prepare our branches. Even from Friday, they had a meeting in Ujwaye, and yesterday they had a meeting in another region. Today they will also be having meetings in other regions up until tomorrow in phase leader. So it's a whole lot of hard work that the subcommittees are doing to prepare our branches so that these minor glitches are not experienced. But we are working very hard to ensure that we assist our branches to be able to go through this process.
So you are saying all your branches are completely united. There's no infighting that scuppered this process. But that would be a hard sell, would it not, when you consider the historic provinces of the ANC in the Free State, not least of which in June of this year, your own legitimacy as the interim provincial leadership was already in question.
I don't know what you regard as divisions. In our understanding, it's a situation of people not seeing things the same way, but it becomes a healthy disagreement if it doesn't paralyze functionality of structures. And in our situation, there's no paralysis of functionality of structures. It's what you experience everywhere. Even at church, you still have people not seeing things the same way. And as a result, how they manage the emerging disagreements becomes important. And in this case, the Free State has been able up to now to manage the differences that members may be having on the ground. That's why we are able to have meetings. I mean, up to now, we haven't had nasty incidents in our branch meetings.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying that the only problem that we have is at the level of verification, where you find that there were some mistakes that were committed during the holding of meeting that have to disqualify that meeting, and the meeting has to be rerun.
You talk pardon me, you talk about healthy contestation, difference of opinions, but when you look at the history of the Free State, that's not always been the nature when it comes to the provincial conference. I mean, you've not been able as a province to even vote at the national conference in successive conferences. I recall the drama around 2011, 2012 when there was supposed to be a provincial conference then. Ultimately, that was a disaster that led to the party saying you could not participate in voting at the national conference. Even in 2017, your delegation did not participate in the election precisely because there were so many issues that tainted the credibility of the process. So it sounds, based on your history as the Free State, that you're dealing with more than just healthy contestation and disagreement.
I'm sure. I'm sure if you can remember the disqualification of our participation in those conferences was based on the fact that there were problems in holding branch meetings that led to the provincial conferences. And that has been eliminated by the new system that has been put in place by the National Office. That's why we talk about verification, disqualifying the meetings, and those meetings have to be rerun. And so in those points, and as a result, it would only be at a level where people are taking the matter to court, that the problem during that meeting. So in this situation now, the system is able to pick up those problems,
okay,
and we deal with that with those problems immediately. That's why we have these issues of having to rerun the branches. So the situation is different. We can't compare the situation now.
But
the situation in 2012 in 2017.
Okay. Pardon me. But if the rerun of these processes ultimately is not to the satisfaction of everyone, as you're saying, where you've blamed the verification process where certain details are captured and then others not captured, if some of your branches say they're not happy ultimately with what happens by this extension until, I think, the 7th of November, which is in the next week, who's to say that you're not going to have another situation where there's back and forth even among your own structures at branch level, questioning whether everything has been done properly before conference and that who is supposed to be in that hall in December is there rightfully?
We have a dispute resolution committee where whenever there's any dissatisfaction emerging from anything that branches are able to take that up, and that is an independent body from the province and at national level. And at national level, it's a committee that belongs to, it's led by Ndate Kgalema Motsanti. So those processes are running, hand in hand, and that's why at the moment I'm raising the issue that we don't have nasty incidents, because that process is running smoothly, and where there are disputes raised, the committee sits every time to deal with them. And where the branch has gone through, but the problem of the system, the manner in which things happened, when capturing membership during the meeting, that is immediately captured by the system, and that's why such a branch will fail verification and have to rerun. And those are the issues that we are currently experiencing.
Will you meet the deadline of November 7th to complete all the work that's still outstanding, including the reruns?
That's why I'm saying it depends. It depends on the meticulous work that has to happen during the holding of the meeting, the branch meeting, that will see the branches through. And unfortunately, we have to meet the timelines. The branches that would have gone through by the 6th or the 7th of November obviously will qualify for the national conference, and those that will be able to qualify later than the 6th will obviously qualify for the provincial conference, and that thing will then have to determine when can we go for the provincial conference.
Okay.
Remember, the Western Cape declared as early as beginning of the month that they are ready, they have reached the threshold, and they still have not gone to the provincial conference. So in order to ensure that you weed out unnecessary things as experienced in other provincial conferences, you have to do thorough work and give yourself an ample time to deal with those problems that are emerging out of the preparations.
Oupa Khoabane from the ANC in the Free State. Good to have your time, so thank you very much today.